Hey, welcome to Rotten Skin, a critical lens to skincare. Whether you're a skincare lover or novice, make sure to subscribe below. I'm watching you. Just kidding, I'm not. You don't have to if you don't want to. So today I'm gonna do a morning routine. I've already filmed this week, but things went awry when my audio failed. It might not be resolved still at the moment, so it's possible that none of this is being picked up. In which case, I'm just gonna quit if this doesn't work. But I figured it was worth one last shot. So I'm going to go through what I do for my morning skincare routine, and I'm going to focus on showing you how I layer sunscreen, because I've mentioned this in a few videos at least in the past, that layering sunscreens, particularly when you're using a mineral filter that might have nano sunscreen ingredients, it's possible that those filters don't cover adequately across the entire UV spectrum. This is especially the case when it comes to UVA, as nanoparticles like zinc oxide don't protect as well into the UVA type 1 portion of UVA. And so layering with different types of sunscreens, like organic sunscreens, can kind of hedge against the risk of not getting full protection. I know a lot of people only stick to mineral sunscreens or need to for some reason. And so, in that case, you have to do what is right for your skin. But for other people who just want to diversify their sunscreen, maybe they're feeling wary about trusting SPF labels, this is a good way to just sort of assure that you have adequate protection. So I'm going to go through how I layer these sunscreens and allow them to dry between coats, but I'm also going to just do my entire skincare routine, as you guessed. So we can just start that now, I suppose. Please give me a thumbs up if you want to. I'd appreciate it. So my skincare routine does not start in the bathroom. It actually starts in my bedroom. I try to do exercise most mornings, and I just will go on YouTube and look up HIIT training or different types of exercises. And for me, skincare really does not start and end in the bathroom, because exercise is a core component of my skincare routine. Exercise has been shown to improve the quality and complexion of our skin. There are some theories around this, and it's not entirely understood why this happens. Like so much science, there are always just theories, and it's very difficult to really prove anything. It's easier to disprove something than it is to prove anything. And so I'm always cautious when I hear people talking about the truth, capital T, or just proving any type of hypothesis. It's not the way science works. Anyway, that's a different topic. People observe that there's a cause and effect in the case of exercise, for example, where increased exercise contributes to an improvement in the quality of people's skin. And the theory is that increased blood circulation can deliver more oxygen and nutrients to the cells and allow them to protect themselves. So even things like antioxidants might be better able to reach the cells in our skin, which can then fight free radicals, which is ultimately what we're trying to do when it comes to protecting our skin from environmental factors like sunlight and pollution. So my morning routine starts with the exercise portion. Some days I sweat more than others. You shouldn't be afraid of sweating. Sweating is the skin's natural mechanism of... I've just realized I'm really close to the camera, so that was quite an intimate shot. But sweating is the skin's natural mechanism of cleansing the pores. But when you sweat with skincare products on, and this is the case for me, when I have sunscreens or a foundation or something on and I'm working out, it is a trigger for my breakouts. And this is another aspect of skincare science that isn't entirely understood. Experts just state that the mixture of skincare products and sweat can clog pores. I've noticed that this happens for me and I get breakouts. So I try to avoid working out heavily while I have skincare on, and that's why I do it in the morning. That also allows me to just work out with the blinds shut so I don't have to have sunscreen on. And then after I'm done, if I'm sweaty, I can just splash my face with water to get off any of the excess sweat or dirt that has been extracted. There shouldn't be too much since I wash my face at night. but it's still maybe a good idea just to ensure that anything that hasn't evaporated isn't just lingering on the skin. So today I didn't sweat that much, so on a normal day I wouldn't splash my face. Since I have dry skin, I try to avoid the amount of water that I apply to my skin since water can be drying. But today, for posterity, I'm gonna splash my face with water just to make this video more interesting as well. So let me do that really quick. So I did that. My face is wet still, so I'm just gonna go right into my skincare. I'm gonna start with this Fermented Complex 94 Boosting Essence from PURITO. And they call it a 3-in-1 for pH balancing effects, skin layer, and skin tone. I don't really exactly know what the latter two mean, but it does have a pH balancing component as well as some concentrated ingredients of niacinamide, 3%. It also has green tea leaf extract, so it's a source of antioxidants, and I know it's higher up on the INCI list. So I'm going to start with this today. I don't use it every day, but I'm basically using this as a toner to prepare my skin for the rest of my routine. So when it comes to the majority of my skincare products, I don't wait for them to dry. I only do that really for sunscreen. I just have chronic blackheads / sebaceous filaments. I think it's really the latter around my nose. BHAs really help to dissolve that material on my skin and just make things look good. So I try to use a BHA every once in a while. Today, I'm going to use this one from CosRx. It's a 4% BHA and it's made with willow bark extract instead of salicylic acid. So, you know, it's whatever. That's considered like a natural alternative, but I don't care about that. So I only will apply this to areas where I'm acne prone and / have blackheads and sebaceous filaments. So I only do like 1 pump of that and then just rub it into those areas, which also include sort of this hairline area and my nose. And then sometimes I go up into my forehead too. This is a really good product, especially for people with oily skin. That does not include me. My skin's dry, but still I do try to use this a couple of times a week. Just, I don't overdo it because it does dissolve oil. That's what BHAs are. They're lipophilic, meaning that they dissolve oil. So it's the morning. I want to really have my skin drink up antioxidants to protect my skin for the rest of the day. If not from ultraviolet radiation that's able to penetrate through my sunscreen, then just pollution in the environment. And maybe even potentially blue light, but the research is still very young in that regard. So I'm going to use this DONGINBI 1899 single essence. This was sent to me. It's on the pricier side, but it is pure red ginseng extract, which is a potent antioxidant source. It's been shown to improve the appearance of wrinkles in clinical studies, and it's been used for centuries, especially in Eastern medicine. I really like this a lot. A little goes a long way with it, and you can smell the red ginseng root in it, so it's pretty nice. And then I will just apply this to everywhere and then bring it down to my neck. I'm going to follow it up with this Hada Labo Gokujyun lotion. It's called a lotion, but it really has like a thick serum-y consistency, which is awesome because it's sold in this really large bottle for a reasonable price. It also has some urea in it, so it could potentially have some light exfoliating benefits. But it's really, for me, a hydrating step where the hyaluronic acid in here can provide some plumping benefits to the skin and reduce the appearance of fine lines, which over time can really soften them. My skin is quite damp right now with all of the products. I'm going to let that dry before I move on to my sunscreen step. But otherwise, I'm ready to go for my sunscreen. So I'm going to take care of some other small tasks, whether that's refreshing my tea or changing. It just depends on the morning, but today I'm just gonna do something to occupy my time. I'm not gonna wait too long. I'm just gonna wait until it's dry to touch, so I'll be back. I've allowed everything to dry, it's dry to touch now. So I'm gonna go in with sunscreen. Today I'm gonna use 3 different sunscreens, believe it or not, just to really show you how I would go about layering them. I do not do this every day because I think it's just, usually it's overkill, but if you do want to hedge against that risk of not having adequate protection, use a few different ones, layer them, and make sure to dry in between. So today I'm using 3. I'm going to use the I Am Sorry Just Sunscreen from B-Lab. This is one of my favorite sunscreens that I reviewed recently. I'm also going to use this Mineral SPF 50 from Pipette. It's made with zinc oxide 20%. They say it's non-nano. I remember reading online that I believe they use 100 nanometer size particles, which is the smallest particle you can use that can still be considered non-nano. So still probably prudent to layer those. And then I'm going to follow it up with this DRMTLGY Tinted SPF 46 sunscreen, which was one of the first reviews that I did on this channel. And I still, to this day, really enjoy using it. It also has some iron oxide protection, which I feel like I mention in at least 50% of my videos. Iron oxides have been shown to protect against the pro-pigmenting effects of blue light, especially in high doses like that comes from the sun. I'm like really close to the camera again. So I like to include iron oxides when I can. Of course, the more iron oxides that you include in terms of the concentration, the more protection you have. So something like a tinted sunscreen probably doesn't have a lot of iron oxides, but researchers have said that any is better than none. So until we have more information, I'm going to keep using iron oxides daily. Because I'm using 3 different sunscreens, we don't have to go overboard with how much we're applying. I feel like you can't ever have too much sunscreen unless it just becomes unbearable to wear and uncomfortable. But these ones, especially this, is not like I can use so much of this without feeling like it's very heavy on my skin. And it acts really like a moisturizing kind of, what was I saying? Oh yeah, it kind of feels like a moisturizer. And in this way, the sunscreen can actually maybe be a double-edged sword because it is so comfortable to wear, but it like melts into the skin where you apply it, even if it's a large amount. And so because it melts so quickly, you might not have enough to spread around the entire face. So you just have to be kind of diligent with this one. And I hope that makes sense, but maybe it's better. Maybe you can just see. So you just try to work it around. I'm not going to be doing the layering on my beard because that just would not look good at all. So I do want to make sure that I have enough in that location. Cannot forget the neck. Cannot forget the ears. And I can't remember if I did my eyelids, so I'm just gonna go back and do those. So as stated, I'm gonna wait for this to dry before going in with my next sunscreen. You know, if you wanted to be extra cautious and you're extremely worried about sun damage, it would be ideal to wait for the entire time stated by the manufacturer, which is typically 15 minutes for the film forming agents to set up. No one has time for that, and I feel like we just have to do the best that we can. We can't be perfect, and so I just try to wait as long as I can, and definitely at least until it's dry to touch. So that's what I'm going to show you doing today because I just want to be realistic. Alright, moving on to this Pipette sunscreen, which I feel like I've seen mixed reviews on. It actually really has such a minimal white cast that it's almost not even there on my skin. And I've seen even darker skinned people rave about this one. It wears on the shinier side. It's very moisturizing. It has plant-based squalane in there, which is kind of, it's a lipid, so it has a tendency to make it just look a little shiny on the skin. But especially in the cold winter months, something like this is really nice when you don't use like a dedicated moisturizer in the morning like me. I just rely on my sunscreens to act as a moisturizer, and they do a pretty good job. Like, I don't think everyone needs to use a dedicated moisturizer in the morning, unless you find that your skin just feels really dry throughout the day, in which case, consider adding a moisturizer. I feel like skincare is all about making small adjustments until you find your ideal kind of routine. But don't let that deter you from just like jumping in and starting. Because I feel like when I was just trying to figure out skincare, I was getting too caught up in all of the minute details about like what you should do. But just starting somewhere and then making slight changes over time can really just like be a way to just get started. Sometimes you need to just start. So like I said, I'm not going to put it in my beard. And the more time that you can spend on applying your sunscreen, the more adequate coverage you're likely to achieve. We just know this, that the longer that people spend on applying sunscreen, the more even the layers of sunscreen they apply will be. When it comes to sunscreen, a continuous film is what you're trying to achieve. A continuous film ensures that there are no gaps in coverage, allowing sunlight to penetrate into the skin. When you take more time to apply, you're just more likely to reach all of the different crevices on the face and some of the areas that are maybe overlooked, like the temples. Again, I'm going to wait for this to dry to touch, and then I'm going to use the DRMTLGY sunscreen. I'm still waiting for it to dry, but you can see it's just, I don't know about how it looks under this light, this ring light. Under normal lighting conditions, there is no white cast on me, so it's really nice, but the shine might be an issue for people who already have shiny or oily skin. But for me, it's kind of nice. And again, just really, really moisturizing. I think also in combination with the B-Lab sunscreen, which is already kind of moisturizing, my skin just feels really protected right now from the elements. Okay, and now we're gonna do the DRMTLGY. And this one does claim a universal tint, and I'm not a fan of that marketing, but this one, I think of all of the sunscreens that claim a universal tint, probably has the closest results to that claim. But I don't believe that there is such thing. And then I also will usually do my neck with something like this. Lovely. Okay, let's see how this is looking in mirror. And I haven't used the DRMTLGY in a long time, but I just like, every time I go back to it, I'm like, I really love it. Because it reminds me so much of the Ulta MD, which is pretty much the first sunscreen, not the first sunscreen I ever used, but it was the first like sunscreen of a higher caliber that I used. And I really liked the way it felt. It was something that I looked forward to applying, but it's so expensive for what it is. And so DRMTLGY makes this really good. They don't call it a dupe, but it basically is a dupe for Ulta MD. And it just has like a very similar finish, which is satin the right word? I'm not sure. I guess like a satin finish. Not too shiny, but not matte. And it's like a nice product to apply. And anyway, I like it. So you can be the judge yourself. I'm not going to forget to protect my lips, but I need your help because I am still using this Vanity Cream SPF 30, which, let me show you. And have I used this on camera before? I think I have, but I don't have, the video is not up anymore. It is just like a bossy white color that appears like I just inhaled a pack of powdered donuts or spent 7 minutes in heaven with Casper the Friendly Ghost, who happens to be very friendly. The reason I use this though is because it is a mineral lip sunscreen. At this time, that's really what I feel comfortable using. Research around the safety of sun filters does not consider people eating those filters or consuming them. And we know that zinc is a mineral that is safe to consume. Of course, they need to be purified. You can't just dig them out of the earth and consume them because there's lots of toxins in zinc naturally. But that's why I've been looking for a zinc lip sunscreen that doesn't leave a white cast or has a tint. I would actually prefer a tint, but I just haven't found one that would be comparable to this, because this one's also really moisturizing. I forgot to mention that. That's another criterion of mine for lip sunscreen, is that I want something moisturizing. Something that I feel okay consuming, because I ultimately will eat this. This one's nice because it's also water resistant for 80 minutes. So if you're like drinking water and stuff, you shouldn't have to be too concerned about that. But yeah, let me know, because the other one I was eyeing was the Coats SPF 45, which has like a beige tint, and I just don't know what that would look like on my lips, but I would be open to trying that one. Let me know if you have any other ones that aren't like exorbitantly priced, and I might try those out too. I think that, I don't know if I was just like standing way too close to the camera for the entire time, but we had an intimate morning today. Yeah, just let me know if you have any questions or anything in the comments, and even if you don't, I would love for you to leave a comment, because it does help my channel and this video immensely when you engage with it. So I would appreciate it if you do that, and I'm gonna go see if the audio worked this time, and if not, I'm gonna go cry myself to sleep, even though it's 9 a.m. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you next time.